evaluation question. Looking back on your preliminary exercise, what do you feel you have learnt in the progression from it to the full product? You can see the completed pages from my preliminary exercise, and on the right, the completed pages from my main task. You can see the quality of the effects has greatly improved from my preliminary exercise to my main task. Probably because I felt more comfortable using the programs then, as I'd already practiced using them with the preliminary exercise. See how I was better able to pick fonts that captured the mood that I wanted to inspire with my magazine in my main task than I was with my preliminary exercise. Even though I became far more adventurous with fonts, they still looked more appropriate than my simpler fonts had done in my preliminary exercise. In my main task, I also became far more creative with the colour schemes I used, a positioning of pictures. You can see, in the preliminary exercise, all of my contents pictures are very clustered together. However, you can quite clearly see an improvement from that in my main task. They're not only of a better quality, but they are also spread more around the magazine, making it look less cluttered and more. See how on the front cover the quality of my puffs have increased from one magazine to the next. Preliminary exercise, the puff was very simple, with a block colour and a black outline. However, in task, you can see how my puff now has a gradient fill, yellow text as opposed to white, and overall looks a lot more professional than the preliminary exercise did. That was planning over the course of 2 magazines. Overall, I came to realise how important it was. In my college magazine for my preliminary exercise, planning didn't seem quite as important, so I didn't focus on it a lot for my. I feel that this was a mistake. I stated how important planning was, and as such, I ended up running out of time a lot more quickly than I anticipated because it felt like it was longer than it was. I feel that the research definitely increases the accuracy of your magazine, about the audiences that you're trying to attract, and if you know about the typical conventions of that sort of magazine, you're better able to replicate it in a way that makes your magazine look realistic. Making a strict plan of when you're going to do certain parts of your magazine definitely increases the quality of it. End up having to rush certain parts of it because you ran out of time. I think it's an awful lot easier to do your magazines if you research and plan before you start creating the product, because you try to research the conventions of your particular type of magazine after you've already started creating it. It's difficult to then comply with those conventions and make your magazine look realistic because you've already set groundwork that doesn't quite fit. It makes life an awful lot easier if you just research to begin with and then build your magazine from the ground up, as opposed to having to knock it down and then start again. Organisation and time management is one of the things that I struggled with the most over the course of my magazines. I found out it's an awful lot harder than I anticipated effectively, as though you went from suddenly having months to mere days to get things finished in. I managed my time better, an awful lot less pressure and suffering from a lot less stress than I eventually was, and that it's important to keep things in very particular files. First times throughout the course of creating my magazines, I lost certain parts of it, various images or various bits of text that I'd saved elsewhere and that I couldn't find and had to re-find. I think that if you keep an organised and uncluttered workspace from the beginning, it makes your life an awful lot easier. Definitely important to plan ahead and factor in potential problems that could come up. On You should always plan to have things done a little bit ahead of time, just in case you end up missing a lesson or if you're ill and you can't make progress on your magazine that day. It's important that you factor in things like cancellations from your models if they can't get to the shoot. I had issues with two lots of models that I eventually couldn't get in to do a photo shoot with because I'd left it too late to photo shoot when they had to cancel. Work is definitely vital. Times throughout the course, we saw people who hadn't backed up their work lose it all because they ended up accidentally deleting or moving a file and then not being able to find it again. They had to hastily fix things that could have otherwise been perfect. So important to save to a variety of places. You save it to a device, a hard drive, a memory stick, a cloud. It's probably best to save it to more than one because it's very easy to lose a memory stick or to have a file corrupted on a hard drive. Just having one copy in one place isn't really good enough. Or even if you have multiple copies but they're all in the same place, because it's very easy for files to be corrupted, things to be lost, you not being able to find things, which is also why a very stringent organization of your files is very important. I would say that one of the most important things is definitely to save frequently, because even I had a number of times where the InDesign would crash and I'd lose some work that I'd done because I hadn't saved it often enough. But a lot of the time I didn't have a lot of problems with that because I did save it quite frequently, even though I should have probably saved it a little bit more frequently than I did. Working with others to be very beneficial to me because it definitely helped me to see things from other people's eyes, and like I managed to fix things that I hadn't spotted myself because someone else pointed them out to me. But I will say that when you're getting to work so close with someone or to talk to them to try and find out what you're doing wrong, it is very easy to get distracted and end up on other topics. I definitely need to work on in future. And it's very good for getting new opinions and perspectives on your work. They'll pick up on things that you'll miss, ideas on how you can make it better or how it might look better. Also know more about the programs that you're using than you do. So they might be able to give you advice based on their knowledge of the program that you're using. Help you if you're stuck with something that you're doing. Very good for being able to get inspiration. So like how to improve, they could give you little ideas, or like you could look at what they've done. Something looks particularly good, you can try and implement something similar into your own magazine. But they can obviously use ideas from you as well. Leads to both of your work being improved. Or by interacting with other people doing the same things as you can learn from their successes and failures. So if, for example, like with me, one of the other girls in the class lost all their work because they didn't save it in a variety of places. When she lost her work, I decided to save mine to more places, so then I didn't stand the risk of doing the same. Which meant that even though it hadn't happened to me, I had seen it happen and seen the stress that it caused, and as such decided to change the way that I did things accordingly. My magazine again, I'd definitely try and improve my time management because I constantly felt as though I was running out of time. So very lax in that it was tempting to just do everything last minute, which I quite often ended up doing, and I think that the quality of my work suffered because of it. I'd like to include more male models if I could do it again. In most magazines, such as Kerrang, a lot of the models in it are male, and I think that I'd be better able to mimic the conventions of this sort of magazine if I had the right sort of models. That could be improved by contacting more people or contacting them earlier so that then I had a better chance of being able to get them in for a photo shoot. A lot of my costuming and makeup was rather plain and bland and not really as out there as it usually is in something like Kerrang. So I think that in future I might try and get someone who knows how to do makeup better than me, so that then more professional and realistic. I think the better organisation is important. Quite often lost things or couldn't do things after enough time in my schedule to incorporate them. I also think that I should add more content to my magazine next time if I were to do it again. Spaces, particularly my double page spread, it looked a bit bland. I think that for things like the double page spread um, title and things like that, it would have been a lot better for me to have used different effects on my fonts and on my text. On the pull quote of my front cover. Do it again. I'd also definitely like to spend more time on my double page spread as a whole, because by the time I came round to doing it, I was running out of time. So I think that if I had more time to spend on it, I'd have definitely done better than I did. In particular, that I really would like to work on if I were to do it again is to allow time for issues. So a lot of the time, models would have ended up cancelling on me, and I wouldn't have been able to get the pictures that I wanted, or things would crash, and having to do very important and complex things in a very short amount of time because I'd not allowed enough time to be able to fix any problems that occurred. So I think that that's definitely something that I'd like to work on next time if I were to do it again.